Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today we're going to be talking about what it takes to be a successful female entrepreneur. And I don't think we could have asked for two better female entrepreneurs to be sat with us. Let me start off by just giving a bit of an introduction. So, firstly, Baroness Brady of Knightsbridge CBE, as your full title is. Karen Brady is Vice Chairman of West Ham United, so for the football followers amongst you, you'll know that they're currently sitting in fifth in the English Premier League. She is a politician, a peer in the House of Lords. She features next to Lord Sugar as his advisor on the BBC hit show The Apprentice. She's currently the UK Businesswoman of the Year, one of the UK's leading female business speakers, a best-selling author, columnist, non-executive director of a global media business. She was awarded a CBE in 2013 for her contribution to women in business and entrepreneurship. She's won numerous awards and accolades, not least being named one of the most powerful people in sport and the most influential person in business in the UK. Karen.
Thank you.
Take a breath. I'll move on to Kelly. So Kelly Hobson, CBE, been at the forefront of the design industry for over 45 years. Today, she's one of the most celebrated and sought-after interior designers in the world. She's put her stamp on everything from homes, private jets, yachts, for everyone from Hollywood A-list through to royalty and some of the world's biggest corporations. She's been a dragon on Dragon's Den. She's authored 9 best-selling books. She's won copious design awards internationally. And she was made an MBE in 2019 for her services to interior design. She was later awarded a CBE for her work on the government's Great Campaign, which promoted British creativity, business and commerce overseas. She's recognised for her passion of inspiring women in business. She's also been honoured with the Women Inspiration and Enterprise Award and has a passion for mentoring young people in business to design. So I think it's fair to say, couldn't really ask for two better guests to talk about this topic. So thanks for joining me. I think one of the first things that I realized when I was looking at your careers is you both started very, very young. So Karen, you were 16 when you went into advertising and selling media. You were a little bit older, 16 and a half, when you got your first break designing a kitchen for a friend's daughter. So was there an impatience, a desire to start work straight away? I'll start with you, Karen.
Well, I had one ambition for myself when I was younger, and that was to be independent. I had been at boarding school from a very early age, and if anyone here went to boarding school, you will know that you have to get up when you're told, you go to bed when you're told, you eat what you're told, you spend your whole life doing what you're told. And I wanted to have some control over my life. I wanted to make my own decisions. And I wanted to be independent. And I knew that real independence only came when you had your own money. The problem was, at 18, I didn't know how to make money. So I kind of sort of presumed that it started with getting a job, and I got my first job. And ambition was something that developed in me as I realized I was very good at things. And I get very annoyed when people are afraid to say they're ambitious, because ambition is not a dirty word. It's that spark, it's that fire inside of you that drives you on. And the one thing I knew at 18 is what my core values were. And core values are the things that make you who you are. They make up your personality. They are the reasons why you make certain decisions in your life. And my core values were that I was ambitious, that I was fiercely determined, and that I had integrity. And at 52, all those years later, they're still my core values. So I was ambitious, I wanted to achieve a lot. I really understood that you never really know how good you are until you try something. So I was never afraid to try something. And I had a passion for business, and I was actually very good at it. And I spent all my life honing in those skills and working in those skills and helping others along the way.
Brilliant. And was the same true for you, Kelly?
I mean, I didn't fit into school, so when I had the chance to actually do this small job, which was tiny, I realized actually at 16 and a half that I wanted to start a business, and I was completely fearless. And I think when you're that young, you don't think about all the things that could go wrong.
Yes.
So I built that I could do. I was tenacious, I loved what I did, and I actually succeeded in this particular job, and through a friend of a friend got into the racing circuit of Grand Prix and ended up doing all of these projects. And I never looked back, and I think the same as Karen, I was very ambitious. I wanted to stand on my own 2 feet, but in a sort of 45 years ago, there was no social media, there was no Google, there was no technology, so you had to go out and sell yourself and network. And I was self-taught businesswoman and designer, and I just never looked back. And I have the same passion, the same authenticity, integrity, belief, all of those things that you need to be an entrepreneur and businesswoman today that I had then, and still feel the same way.
Yeah, which is amazing, really. And I know when we were speaking earlier, young people today, they look up to both of you, other successful female entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs as their role models. And I asked you, who were your role models? And you said we didn't have role models. So what was it that gave you that ambition? Who was it that you looked to as, I want to be like them?
And I think my mother, who still is alive and amazing, and she had worked and was very successful. So I think your parents have a lot to do with the way you progress in life. But I think for me it was that independence, that feeling that I wanted to prove to myself that I could achieve something. And so when I mentor young people today who don't have mentors, I talk to them and say, if you have a belief and you're good at what you do, the rest will fall into place.
Yeah, and was the same true for you, Karen?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I chose very male-dominated environments to go in. It doesn't get more male-dominated than Premier League football, where I've spent 30 years of my career, as well as politics, as well as journalism. So I didn't have any role models, but I had a real sense of who I was. I had a real sense of ambition and desire and passion. And I had a lot of courage. But I got to tell you, courage is nothing without determination.
Yes.
Everybody, before you get successful, you have temporary defeat. Sometimes you have total failure. It's what you do and how you react when that happens to you. And actually, sometimes in business, simply, picking yourself up, dusting yourself off, finding your backbone and using it are the really most important things. I've certainly found that in the 30 years in my career. But my grandmother was very important to me. She used to have this saying, and she used to say to me, you must never look down on people unless you're helping them up. And I spent my whole life living by that mantra. And that's why, as a woman, one of the very few women, first ever woman managing director in football, 75% of my senior directors at West Ham Football Club are women. I have practiced what I've preached. I've mentored women. I've encouraged women. I've championed women, and do that through my position in the House of Lords as well as in my business. So I think that being a role model, encouraging others, showing people, as Kelly will tell you, that it is possible to have a career and a family. It is possible to be courageous, to be determined, to be irrepressible, and have your integrity, and lead great businesses with great cultures that are worth, my business is worth £1 billion, that's worth a lot of money, but still has respect and kindness and ambition and integrity right at the heart of it.
No, it's fascinating. I think, the other thing you pointed out, you were so young when you achieved what you achieved. So you were 23 when you were the managing director of a football club, and you were the youngest ever MD of a UK PLC when it floated. And Kelly, same with you, so young. Do you think some of that came from being a female and wanting to set new boundaries? It's astonishing the pace that you both went at, or do you think it was independent of that?
Personally, I don't think I thought that at the time at 16 and a half. I'd had a tragedy in my life, and I think that actually spurred me on to wanting to be independent. But I've never worked in business thinking about being a woman.
Right.
I have worked in business knowing that I'm good and that I can deliver and continue to deliver and have people pleased with what I do. So when I'm asked that question, personally, I've never used that as either an excuse or something that I have believed to have been in my business. And same with Karen, my business was predominantly male. Every building site had men on it. So in those terms, I was sort of singled out. But in terms of running a business and having that sort of fierce tenacity, and as Karen says, courage, which you need, I enjoyed that. You know, I really enjoy being in business and making those decisions. And as an entrepreneur, when things don't go right, you're already on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And that's what's so brilliant about being an entrepreneur. You don't focus on something that hasn't worked.
Yeah, no, that's really true. So, Karen, just wanted to pick up. You were talking about how you've led by your own principles, and now the board that you work with is 75% women. Do you feel that you've both got to the position that you're in, that you now have, it's almost like a duty to inspire other females going into business?
Well, a duty makes it sound like it's a chore. It's certainly not a chore. I think Kelly and I, in everything that we do, how we conduct ourselves, the businesses that we run, the cultures that we breed, we realize that comes with a lot of responsibility. But it also comes, we hope, with a lot of inspiration to encourage the next designers, the next business women, the next scientists, innovators, tech giants. And we hope by showing them that it is possible to run a business, have a family, stay female, it is very possible. And also to give people that sense of having a go. Because ultimately, that's what Kelly and I did. We had a go. There was this quote I saw the other week that said, the definition of hell is that on your last day on earth, the person you could have been will meet the person you are. And if you think about that and think about the opportunities that come your way, what might happen if you don't take them, if you don't push yourself, if you don't try, if you don't aim for the stars. And I think that through our tenacity, our irrepressible attitude, our attitude to life, our attitude to women, our attitude to business, the way we conduct ourselves and the way we do things, we really do hope it's an inspiration.
And how about you, Kelly?
No, I mean 100%. I think it's really important, and I like that title, to be able to inspire people. And I think what we both do, I'm inspired by you,
And I am by you.
So I think young women today are inspired by people who are successful. But I think the one thing that Karen and I have done is been very honest and very authentic in the way that we talk about what we've done. And it's not all, roses the whole time. There are pitfalls. You fall down, you pick yourself up. And if you talk to people about the tools that you can use and the things that can encourage people, and it's important to tell young people that risk is important. Those risks take you to the next level. But it is so important that you believe in what you do and that you enjoy. I enjoy what I do so much. And I think if you can speak like that and inspire a few people every day all over the world, then I think, yes, it's a responsibility that I enjoy having.
Kelly's right. I mean, nothing is work unless you'd rather be doing something else. And when you have a career where every day you wake up you look forward to, I mean, I cannot imagine what it must be like to have a career or a job where you dread going to work. But when you have a career that you do something you believe in, you do it passionately, you love it, it's really important. And I think one of the things that Kelly will tell you as well is the importance of leadership in your business. I mean, leadership should never be confused with management. Management is setting out a series of roles and managing people to go and deliver them. That's very important. But leadership is about vision. And when you have that vision, it's usually that only you can see it. And part and parcel of that leadership is persuading people to buy into your vision, persuading them to help you deliver it, persuading them that it is the right path. And that's the great thing about great leaders, that ability to persuade people on their vision. I mean, for example, when we moved from a 35,000-seater stadium to the Olympic Stadium, which is the second largest stadium in the Premier League, only to Manchester United, people couldn't see the vision. They couldn't see that we would triple our turnover, make massive profits, have 54,000 season ticket holders, become a global brand. And it took a long time to persuade people to buy into that vision, and now it's been delivered. People believe in it. But as Kelly said, you have to have your vision and follow it.
Yeah, no,
and be
absolutely.
honest about it.
Yeah, no, and I think it's so true what you're saying about the bravery, and you've set a bar that other female entrepreneurs can see what's possible, what they can achieve. Do you think there's certain traits that you have as female entrepreneurs that give you an edge, or do you think that's completely irrelevant?
All the entrepreneurial women that I've met, there is something that we have. Can it be taught? I think that all of the young entrepreneurs that I meet, there's that fire in their belly. They want it. They're desperate to hold it. And as you say, the kind of leadership, I call it the bubble. When you get your team in the bubble and you talk and you're sort of incredibly vivacious and you have a vision and you want to sell it, you can inspire people. And I think being a leader, you have to be inspirational. So I think there are certain qualities, but the one for me is you have to believe what you're doing, otherwise no one else will.
Yeah.
I think the one thing lots of entrepreneurs have in common is one ingredient, and that is confidence. And confidence is not about what you've achieved in your life. It's about the fact that you can back yourself when things don't work out the way that you want. That you have the confidence yourself to pick yourself up and go again. And that is one common trait in all entrepreneurs, male and female. That ability to back yourself and believe in yourself and be able to pick yourself up, because it's that spark, it's that fire, it's that drive, it's that irrepressible attitude, it's that courage.
No, I totally agree. So, I mean, we're here, biggest tech event in the world. Like me, I know you both sort of started your careers, well, before computers, before the internet, before social media. Today we're seeing all these amazing pieces of technology. How have you adapted yourself as businesswomen, as personal brands in your own right? How do you cope with technology?
I mean, for me, in my business over 45 years, the way in which technology has improved speed and how we present what we do is beyond recognition that what I could have believed when I started at 16 and a half. And more so in the last 2 years with COVID, we've been able to continue running the business, do installations from London all over the world, speak to people, be in the room with people, show people how rooms could look without us being in there. I mean, it's so exciting for me as a businesswoman in design to be able to know that walking around here today, you can see there's even more coming, there's more available. I'm just completely blown away by it, but it's so important to my business.
Yeah.
And for somebody that could barely switch a computer on years ago, I'm quite impressed with the way that I'm keeping up with the times.
Yeah. And how about you, Karen?
If someone had told me that the most used phrase last year was "you're on mute," I wouldn't have believed them, but we all believe it now. I think that technology has been particularly important to women because it gives you the ability to work wherever you need to be, which is very important when you have a family. You are connected, you are communicating, you are working. And I think from that point of view, over my career as that developed, as my kids got older and I was more able with Wi-Fi and the internet to work remotely, that was very helpful to me. But with a business which is a global brand in West Ham, where we have millions of followers, millions and millions of followers all over the world, that ability to communicate with people who are never going to be directly communicating with the footballers. So they're not going to meet the footballers in the pub, they're not going to meet them in any kind of informal setting, but they have a connection with them through the videos and social media and the connection that they make, and I think that's very important.
Yeah, no, it's so true. I was speaking to Stephen Bartlett just before you, and it was very interesting. He's a master of his own personal brand. He has a video team that follow him wherever he goes, and he was explaining how he felt that's given him an edge in business, how it's differentiated him. I know from knowing both of you that social media it's not a natural thing for either of you, but you both have adapted. I mean, how do you feel about this whole world of personal branding and putting yourself at the front and center of everything you do? Is it something you embrace? Is it something you think is a necessity, something you shy away from?
No, I embrace it. You know, I do a lot of endorsements of things that I believe. I have my own branded products. I actually love social media. It's just that I've had to learn how to use it. I think that as long as you are authentic on social media, for me personally, then I think it works. I know that during the last 2 years, I've done a lot of mentoring over my social media to people that's helped them enormously. I think if you use it in the correct way, it's an extraordinary tool to have.
Yes.
And I learn every day something new about it.
Yeah, and how about you, Karen?
It definitely doesn't come naturally to me. I couldn't understand why people would want to know what I'm having for my lunch, so I never really post much. And also, you know, I have a very busy life that's relatively private. I run a big business, I'm a politician as well, and there's not so much I can share about that. But I do understand why people do it, and I do wish I did it a lot better.
Yeah, we're all learning. So, I mean, I just wanted to go back to what you were talking about in terms of what's happened in the pandemic, because I think it's forced everyone to work slightly differently and maybe reevaluate the way we live our lives. And, you know, I know personally I don't travel anywhere near like I used to, and that is a benefit to me, both professionally and socially. I guess it's going to change the way we work forever. I mean, I don't think we're going to go back to our old ways. So I'm assuming you'd see that as a positive in terms of, as you said, sort of helping females who want to be mums balance their lives.
Definitely. I mean, they say, I saw something that said the other day, there are decades where nothing happens and weeks where decades happen. And I think that pretty much sums up the last 2 years. Who would have thought that we would have gone through this pandemic? But it was a real opportunity for everyone to reassess their values and their purpose, the personal and both business and professional. What do you stand for? You know, what is important to you? And when you look around a conference like this and you see the technology that's coming, whether it's in the health sector, the communications sector, security sector, you realize the pace of change, which is making it easier for us all, I think, to find that better balance between home life and work life.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a good thing, and I think that out of something bad, something good has happened. And I think that not only for women, for men as well, to have that balance and actually to know that you can run a business and not be at work or go to Hong Kong for 2 days and still get the work done, so that your choices are more defined. And I think we have to embrace the change now. And I think actually, I'm sure here today there is technology that's only going to enhance what we can do going forward.
Yeah, no, 100%. So we have pretty much run out of time. I think I'll end with one last question. What words of inspiration, what words of wisdom would you give to young female entrepreneurs or any entrepreneur that looks at you and wants to achieve the success that you've both achieved?
I mean, for me, I would just say anything is possible. You know, believe in yourself, communicate with people, and be courageous. I mean, my motto is nothing's too big, but nothing's ever big enough. You know, you can still strive for more, and it's possible.
I think follow your passions, be really clear about what you want to achieve, and try. The only person holding you back from your ambitions is you.
Very wise words from both of you. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. You're both a complete inspiration. You should be rightly extremely proud of what you've both achieved. You are role models. I think it's unfair to say you're role models to other female entrepreneurs. I think it's fair to say you're a role model to all entrepreneurs and all business people. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you.